He ruled from the shadows, but his name inspired fear across Chicago. Frank Nitti wasn't just Al Capone's right hand, he was the cold mind behind the muscle. From silent hits to Hollywood extortion and a death still shrouded in mystery, Nitti left behind a legacy soaked in blood, secrets, and power. Here are 10 of the most scandalous, shocking, and disturbing truths about the man they called the Enforcer. Number 1. Blood ties. Nitti and Capone were family. Frank Nitti, born Francesco Raphael Nitto in 1886, grew up in Brooklyn's Italian neighborhoods and worked as a shoeshine boy and barber. But few know that he wasn't just Al Capone's trusted enforcer, he was his cousin. Their families came from the same region of Italy, and their bond went deeper than business. In Chicago, Nitti opened a barbershop, which quickly became a front for fencing stolen goods. His calm, calculating nature set him apart. He married Rosa Levitt in 1917 and had a son, Joseph. After their divorce, he married Anna Ronga, tying himself to another powerful mob family. Despite his brutal work, Nitti was known for loving classical music and dressing impeccably. He rarely raised his voice, but when he gave orders, people obeyed. From humble beginnings and blood ties, he rose quietly, proving that in organized crime, family wasn't just everything, it was survival. Number 2. The night a cop tried to kill Frank Nitti. In December 1932, Frank Nitti was shot in the head not by a rival gangster, but by a Chicago police officer. During a raid on his office, Detective Harry Lang fired 3 shots at close range. Nitti, unarmed, took a bullet through the jaw and neck, but survived. Lang claimed Nitti reached for a weapon. But the evidence said otherwise. After shooting Nitti, Lang reportedly shot himself in the arm to stage a self-defense narrative. Despite the glaring inconsistencies, Lang was acquitted. Nitti, ever silent, refused to press charges. Rumors swirled that the hit had been ordered by Mayor Anton Cermak to clean up Chicago before Roosevelt's visit, or that it was a betrayal from within the outfit. Weeks later, Nitti was seen in court, bandaged and grinning. For the public, he became a legend, the gangster who shrugged off a bullet to the head and never said a word. For his enemies, it was a warning: Nitti wasn't easy to kill. Number 3. Capone's successor, a boss without a crown. While Al Capone hogged headlines, Frank Nitti was quietly building the outfit's future. By the time Capone went to prison in 1931, Nitti was already managing bootlegging, bribery, and labor rackets across Chicago. Many assumed he'd take full control, and unofficially, he did. He didn't need flashy cars or photo ops. Nitti preferred backroom deals, silent enforcement, and well-placed bribes. FBI files described him as the man who made sure nothing happened without permission. He mastered the balance of terror and diplomacy, letting others take credit while he pulled strings. Some insiders say he never wanted to be the official boss. He put Paul Ricca in the spotlight to deflect heat, staying just far enough from the press and the law. But everyone in the underworld knew who really ran Chicago. He was the man behind the throne, and sometimes, that's the most powerful seat of all. Number 4. Hollywood on its knees. After Prohibition ended, Nitti turned to labor racketeering and saw gold in Hollywood. Through his control of IATSE, the key film workers union, he extorted major studios like MGM and Warner Brothers. Millions were funneled through fake contracts and strike threats. Nitti didn't appear in the open. Instead, he used union leaders like Willie Byoff to handle day-to-day shakedowns. Studio executives paid without question. One producer later said, "We didn't negotiate. We paid and hoped no one got hurt." The scheme worked for years until 1943, when federal indictments named Nitti among the conspirators. Facing serious prison time, his worst fears resurfaced. Nitti's genius wasn't just in extortion, it was in knowing where the money really was. While others fought for street corners, he held Hollywood hostage from 2,000 miles away. Number 5. Death by fear, not just crime. On March 19, 1943, Frank Nitti put on his best suit, grabbed a bottle of whiskey, and walked alone to a rail yard. He fired 2 shots, missed both. The third ended his life. He left behind no confession, only speculation. The public was shocked. Why would a powerful mob boss kill himself? The answer: fear. After a short prison term in the early 30s, Nitti developed crippling claustrophobia. Associates said he couldn't even ride elevators. And by 1943, whispers spread he was dying of terminal cancer. Facing years in prison from the Hollywood indictments, he saw no escape. Some believe the outfit pressured him to take the fall and stay silent. Others claim he acted on his own, refusing to let the law humiliate him. Whatever the truth, Nitti's death wasn't about guilt, it was about control. He chose his own ending, just as he had chosen everything else. Number 6. Mob elections: how Nitti fixed Chicago's votes. By the late 1930s, Nitti's power wasn't limited to crime, he had influence in the voting booths. Through bribes, threats, and ballot stuffing, the outfit rigged elections across Cook County. Local officials, police, and even judges owed their positions to Nitti's crew. One alderman later confessed, "We didn't campaign. We delivered precincts for Frank." In some areas, the number of votes exceeded the number of registered voters. On election day, outfit men escorted drunks, repeat voters, and even corpses, with fake names and real ballots. This wasn't just about influence. It was strategic. With city contracts and police chiefs under control, the outfit operated with near-total immunity. Prosecutors were handpicked. Investigations disappeared. Laws bent or vanished. Nitti didn't just buy power, he manufactured it. In Chicago, politics wasn't the art of persuasion. It was business. And business belonged to the outfit. Number 7. A sinister side business: trafficking in silence. Nitti's empire included booze, gambling, and unions, but behind the scenes, darker activities thrived. Vice squads investigating brothels in the late 1930s uncovered links to human trafficking rings run by outfit-connected clubs. Many victims were young immigrant women promised jobs in restaurants or theaters, only to vanish into forced prostitution. A 1939 police memo referred to orders from higher authority rotating girls between establishments. Though Nitti was never charged, agents believed he sanctioned the operations. They were too big and too profitable to exist without his approval. One Catholic priest who spoke out received threats and fled the city. The press, intimidated or bribed, buried the stories. No public scandal followed. Even in Chicago's underworld, this was taboo. And yet, it continued quiet, brutal, and lucrative. For Nitti, morality was never a factor, only control. Number 8. The Mafia feud that almost started a war. Though the outfit often cooperated with East Coast families, tensions boiled over in the late 1930s. The conflict: illegal betting profits from racetracks across the Midwest. Nitti refused to split revenue with New York bosses. The result was blood. In 1937, a courier tied to the Luciano family was found shot in Ohio. A week later, Nitti's top man, Lawrence Dago Mangano, was gunned down in Chicago. Federal agents feared an all-out war. New York emissaries flew in for emergency meetings. Nitti didn't back down. He believed Chicago operated independently and wouldn't be muscled. "We answer to no one," he reportedly told associates. Eventually, a shaky truce was brokered, but tensions lingered. The feud proved Nitti wasn't just Capone's shadow. He could go toe-to-toe with anyone in the national underworld and survive. Number 9. Holy money, churches and the mob. During the late 30s, outfit money began flowing into Chicago churches. Some priests accepted anonymous donations. Others received envelopes directly from Nitti's men, no questions asked. One church expanded overnight. Another, whose priest refused the money, burned down weeks later. Later probes showed some religious charities were laundering fronts. One mission fund received tens of thousands, with no address, staff, or public activity. For Nitti, the church wasn't sacred. It was just another shield for cash and control. Number 10. The Ghost of the Enforcer. Frank Nitti died in 1943, but his legend never did. For decades, rumors swirled that he buried money across Illinois on farms, in church basements, even under old speakeasies. Some unmarked bills from the 1940s, traced to outfit operations, surfaced in forgotten safes as late as the 1970s. His successors, Tony Accardo, Sam Giancana, ran the outfit using his blueprint: silence, bribery, and quiet terror. Even FBI agents admitted Nitti was the model. William Romer once said, "Nitti was the structure. The others just followed the formula." And then there were the ghost stories. Locals claimed to see a man in a gray fedora near the rail yard where Nitti died, vanishing into the trees. Others reported footsteps in the abandoned LaSalle Street office at night. Whether myth or memory, one thing is certain: Nitti never really left. Not the city. Not its history. Not the fear.